and welcome to Gravitas. I'm Palki Sharma Upadhyay. Let's get started. 6 days before people cast their ballot, and as both key political families of Pakistan face uncertainty, one man seems to be gaining the most, and he is Imran Khan. A recent survey conducted in the country may spell good news for the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf chief, but Pakistan may have to brace for some more drama.
नवाज शरीफ का करप्शन खत्म कर सकता है और आसिफ जरदारी का तो आपको पता ही है.
Declaring himself as the messiah of the Pakistan people, Imran Khan is projecting the image of an honest, clean politician. The PTI chief seems to be capitalizing on the recent conviction of big PMLN leaders and the corruption taint on former President Asif Ali Zardari. And this recent survey is going to make Imran Khan happier. A research conducted by AKD Securities Limited gives a snapshot of the results, giving an insight into who could form the next government in the country. The survey predicts Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf's major lead over all other parties. With 99 seats in the National Assembly, the Imran Khan-led party could emerge as the single largest party. The study predicts that Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz would win 72 seats as opposed to 142 in the last elections. Bilawal Bhutto-led Pakistan People's Party would end up with 35 seats and in the third position. Among other key parties in the fray, the Muttahida Qawmi movement is projected to bag 13 seats, the conservative Muttahida Majlis-e-Amal 11 seats, and the Grand Democratic Alliance 8 seats. The survey predicts a lead for Imran Khan, but there is little to rejoice just yet. In the 272-member-strong assembly, a party would need 137 seats to form the government. So even if PTI does emerge as the single largest party, it would need 38 more seats for Imran Khan to be the Prime Minister. In the case of a hung assembly, the agency lists out possible scenarios. Number 1. PTI leads the coalition with the support from nationalist parties along with independents. Number 2. Imran Khan joins hands with Pakistan People's Party to lead the coalition with support from provincial and ethnic parties and independents. And number 3. PMLN and PPP come together to form the government. The two parties could forge a bond under a common persecution theme. If this recent report is anything to go by, the incumbent PMLN will have to spend the next 5 years on the opposition benches. Fragmentation within the senior ranks and the recent judicial setback to the party leadership could severely impact the PMLN's political fortunes. If this survey proves correct, the stock of Islamists may as well go up as Imran Khan scrambles to shore up the numbers and propel himself to the seat of power. Bureau Report, WION.
But the ultimate seat of power in Pakistan remains with the army, always has, no matter who is in government, and this time is no different. If anything, the army is only gaining in strength. It's also losing on one front, that is the perception battle, trying hard to prove that it has no role to play in the election process, trying hard to shed the tag of manipulators, pulling the strings without being burdened with responsibility. A representative of the Pakistani army has said that they have no direct role in this election. The army is only providing support to the civilian departments. He was speaking before a standing committee in the Senate, the upper house of Pakistan's legislature. Remember, just 10 days back, the Pakistani army had issued a similar statement, unprompted.
अफवाज पाकिस्तान का किरदार इन इलेक्शंस में इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ पाकिस्तान की मावनत करना है. हमने उनको सपोर्ट देनी है उन तमाम टास्क में जो उन्होंने हमसे मांगे हैं. कंडक्ट में अफवाज पाकिस्तान का ये काम इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ पाकिस्तान का है और उनके दिए गए मैंडेट के मुताबिक हम उनकी सपोर्ट करेंगे. तो दिस हैज टू बी क्लियर कि वी आर इन सपोर्ट रोल.
Meanwhile, jailed former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif has accused the army of influencing elections. Even Sharif's opponent Bilawal Bhutto has repeatedly said that Pakistani army is blocking his efforts while banned organizations are being given a free hand. And now, in an interview, the CEO of the influential Dawn Media Group has said, and I quote, "There appears to be an attempt to favor second-level string leaders and a patch-up coalition which would rule with direction from the deep state." Imran Khan is livid. He's accusing the Pakistani media of being biased. The army says that it is not interfering. Imran Khan does not believe that the army is interfering. And yet, Nawaz Sharif, Bilawal Bhutto and a top media house are fearful that these elections will be rigged. History, they say, repeats itself, and the dark history of Pakistan's democracy is haunting its future. Meanwhile, Syria is undertaking the massive task of rebuilding the country. It's been left devastated after 7 long years of assault, airstrikes and bombing. Here's a report from Harasta, a town that was recaptured by the Syrian forces 4 months ago.
Of the 250,000 people who once resided here, only 15,000 remain. While some fled the town, others were killed. In Harasta, houses, industrial complexes and people have all been pulverized. This town, located outside Damascus, was taken hostage by the armed rebels for almost 5 years. The town was recaptured by Syrian forces in March. The assault lasted for almost a week. With the assault over, families have begun trickling back into their homeland. Some of their homes survived, but there are others who aren't as lucky. Meet 45-year-old Hassan. He chose to remain in Harasta through the rebels' reign. The former petrol station worker now transports rocks and other materials in his pickup truck.
This is the only work in Harasta that pays right now.
Most of the houses in this city have been reduced to their skeletons. They stand like massive honeycombs overlooking the dusty streets. 50-year-old Naman had fled to Altal in 2012. He could hardly contain himself when he found his house is still standing.
I was shocked to see most of the building had collapsed. It is true that my house is devastated compared to before, but I am happy it still stands. Whatever happens, it is still my house and it is very dear to me.
All the locals are now busy in trying to bring their city back to how it was. Demolition and reconstruction is on in full swing. Locals are engaged in removing rubble and debris from the houses, which is then dumped onto the main street. The Public Works Ministry transports it to a local dump. The debris is then segregated and recycled into cement with the hope that this time it will last longer. That it will make homes and offices that won't have to suffer the fates of the ones that stood before them. Bureau Report, WION.
Some say it was bound to happen sooner rather than later. Some say it's a flash in the pan. Whatever be the case, Google is refusing to budge. A spokesperson from the company said that Android creates more choice, not less, and the company plans to appeal the European Union's eye-popping fine. $5 billion US. That's the kind of fine the European Union has slapped on Google. The decision by the European Commission, which is the EU's regulatory arm, found that Google manages Android, which runs roughly 80% of the world's smartphones, in ways that illegally harm competition. This ruling focused on 3 practices in particular: the bundling of Google's Chrome web browser and its search app as a condition for licensing the Google Play Store, payments Google makes to phone manufacturers and telecom companies to exclusively pre-install the Google search app on their devices, and Google's practice of prohibiting device makers from running Google apps on Android forks or alternative versions of the software unapproved by Google. In its ruling, the Commission ordered Google to stop all these practices. The European Union hit Google with a record antitrust fine for abusing the dominance of its Android mobile operating system. It ordered Google to stop such practices within 90 days or face additional charges of up to 5% of the alphabet's average daily worldwide revenue. The ruling comes little over a year after the EU fined this company, the very same company, $2.7 billion for favoring its shopping service over competitors. Venezuela may be showing the way amidst a collapsing economy and anti-government protests. News of the South American country of Venezuela is rarely positive, but two young engineers there are making the best of these bleak conditions by turning garbage into car parts. They're using 3D printing technology.
Inside the garbage dumps of Venezuela, a startup, Nedraki, is recycling electronic waste into car parts using 3D printers. Nedraki's journey began when 27-year-old Nazir returned from the United States after having studied 3D printing technology. He, along with his friend, began by rummaging through a garbage dump in their university in Caracas. But their dreams took off only after they struck a deal with a local recycling plant.
Firstly, we are producing the prime material on the national level. Secondly, we are doing this while focusing on circular economy, using residues from other industrial processes, recycling them so that we are able to produce goods. Thirdly, we are making sure this technology reaches more people. We are taking part in events, in educational projects, because we want 3D printing to grow in the country.
With an inflation rate of 50,000%, an exodus of over 1 million people, and widespread shortages of food and medicine, Nedraki's success is helping local companies dependent on expensive imports to buy cheap.
The economic crisis in Venezuela has damaged the entrepreneurial ecosystem, meaning there are no strong institutions who are able to substantially support these types of initiatives, or calls to take part in competitions that present a sufficiently good enough award offering capital fund to develop a project such as this one. This happens less. We have also found there are calls abroad, which unfortunately don't accept Venezuelan startups.
Clearly, Nedraki is reviving Venezuela's once vibrant manufacturing sector, lighting the path for other young Venezuelan companies to make the best out of waste. Bureau Report, WION.
Real has turned into real with the world's first human jet suit. It's up for sale in Selfridges in London. 9 lucky buyers will soon be able to fly about like Iron Man. Take a look.
A former British commodities trader, Browning took flight above a small closed-off street outside Selfridges, the London-based luxury store which is selling custom-made versions of the suit. Much to the delight of Iron Man fans, this jet suit is finally up for grabs with a whopping price tag of nearly $450,000 or slightly over 3 crore rupees. Though Browning chooses to hover only a few meters above ground in this demonstration, the jet suit has an altitude limit of 12,000 feet with a speed record of 32 miles or 51.50 kilometers per hour. The magical suit that runs on jet fuel or diesel is made up of 5 miniature jet engines mounted on the pilot's arms and back, and also of electronics and 3D printed parts. The suit by Gravity Industries is no doubt reminiscent of the one worn by Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, Marvel's popular superhero. So if you decide to bag the suit, expect a training session at the hangar.
So that involves a customer going to our flight training hangar and then spending 3 days in a series of progressive steps, even starting with a VR system just to get familiar. A bit like the analogy of riding a bike is not actually not misplaced. It's a funny process to try and describe, but it's one you have to feel. And if you're in a safe, controlled environment and you can relax into it, knowing that nothing can go wrong, that's the best environment to learn. And then, as I say, I've seen some of my team members learn within minutes to just square away that balance and control.
But a gravity-defying invention such as this jet suit is sure to raise security concerns.
I would sort of demystify this in the sense, a bit like buying a very high-end supercar or maybe a sports motorbike. A sports motorbike, if you abuse it, it can cause you a problem very quickly. The same with this. If you're sensible with it, it doesn't have to be very dangerous at all. The preferred real ownership model that we've seen so far is people actually leave the suit with us and then come to us to carry on their learning and training. And if they want to fly it in a location of their choice, then we can make that possible to them. Of course, that doesn't preclude them from having it stored in their garage somewhere, but it does take a little bit of maintenance, I suppose, a little bit of knowledge, but nothing approaching that of a helicopter.
Everything you can imagine is real, said the Spanish maverick Pablo Picasso. Be it Icarus or Iron Man, the human species has always nurtured a dream of personal flight. And now, Richard Browning has blurred the boundary between reality and imagination. Bureau Report, WION.
That it's a wrap. We're leaving you with Gravitas images. Thanks for watching.